Okay, so welcome to a new segment of the channel called Controversial Thoughts. This is where I discuss a subject that the internet has dubbed controversial and give my opinion on it. Half of it is really not controversial, it's just nerds disagreeing. And last I checked, that's not nearly as controversial. And so the first topic I'm going to cover here, if ever I do cover a real controversy, it's going to be something you guys are familiar with, and something that, honestly, I think has just spiraled out of control. Speaking of, let's discuss today's topic, Helluva Boss and Ruby. I put these two in the same lot together because, well, it's kind of the same issue. What do I mean by this? Okay, so there are so many people on YouTube who talk about how not Has-Been Hotel, that's not coming until January. I know I'm late to respond to the trailer. I've just been trying to think of what to say. Anyways, so to move on from that, a lot of people bitch and moan about Helluva Boss Season 2, about the episode The Circus. Excuse me. About, oh, they ruined Stella. Oh, that conversation that Stolas had with Octavia in Season 1, Episode 2 just means nothing now. No, I think he was just trying to spare his daughter's feelings, because in case you didn't hear, the whole reason he's put up with Stella's bullshit is so his daughter can have a normal life. And let me tell you, I don't know, since they're demons, is that good or bad? I really don't. Anyways, moving along. You want to hear my controversial topic about this? You want to hear it? You want to hear it? You want to hear it? I think most of Season 2 is a little better than Season 1. Yeah, I've talked before about when I had my in the comments debate with Hezu Neutral on one of her videos, when she was talking about how, why would Stella's family blame Stolas for the divorce when they could easily blame Stella? Because Stella doesn't do anything. The problem with this is that Stella and her family, if she still has any besides her asshole brother, maybe it's that they didn't like Stolas to begin with, maybe they stand by their daughter and all, and the biggest problem, they're rich people. You're trying to apply logic to not even rich people, rich demons. Creatures that are made to defy logic. So, yeah, no, I firmly believe, maybe Stella's family blame both her and Stolas. I don't know. You've heard me say endlessly that I like Has-Been Hotel more. Why do I like Has-Been Hotel more? I'll tell you that in another video. Anyways, moving on from that. So, why do I think Season 2 is a little better when everyone else loves to hate on it? Because what really is Season 1? Season 1, in my personal opinion, is just the Blitz and Stolas show. Think about it. What is this show really about at the end of the day? Helluva Boss is about the dynamic between Blitz and Stolas. Yeah, sure, you got the M&Ms, you got Luna and Octavia, those two being my personal favorites, but bear with me here. But what this show is really about at the end of the day is Blitz and Stolas. Everybody was okay with that until the circus episode. Why? Oh, because it ruined so many people's headcanons. Because we all had what we thought was going on. Yeah, that's the thing. What you thought. Everyone thought Stella and Stolas may have once been in love. Everybody thought that Stella may have been an okay person, but over time, both she and Stolas fell out of love. Everyone thought that maybe Blitz and Stolas just randomly bumped into one another. Everybody thought. None of this, not a fucking word, was ever confirmed by show staff. It was just something that the audience accepted and we all thought was what was going on. As for Stolas constantly pausing during his talk with Octavia in Lululand, where he goes all, your mother and I, we weren't in, I haven't been, he's trying to say he hasn't been happy, he hasn't been in love, but he just stops. Why does that give you guys the impression that he and Stella may have even been in love to begin with? He's probably just trying to spare his daughter any anguish. Because he's just trying to be a good dad. Most of the complaints I hear are just people whose fan fiction has been wrecked. And we have to stop and remember that fan fiction, much as we love it, is just that. Fan fiction. I'll give you an example of some of my own. Yeah, I know. You're gonna judge me because I write that stuff. I'll give you an example of some of my own. Way back when, I actually started to write a story pretty much where the war for Cybertron never actually happened. Yeah, Transformers. I'm a Transformers nerd. Sue me. Where basically, not that the Autobots and Decepticons came to a halt or truce, but the war never happened because Cybertron was attacked by an external threat. What was that threat? I could never settle on one choice. I've heard friends and associates give me ideas for a choice. The one I settled on was the Galactic Empire from Star Wars. I know you're thinking, the Galactic Empire? You mean the stormtroopers that the Decepticons could easily step on? Yeah, but also the massive-ass ships that can do damage to the planet and the fucking Sith Lord. For those who don't read Star Wars comics, Sith force power lets them be powerful enough to shake planets. And since they say Vader is one of the most powerful Sith to have ever lived, yeah, I don't think they're walking away unscathed. Or, hell, another example, shortly after I started playing Call of Duty World at War, I wrote a story about when Miller and his friends go back to the States. I wrote a story about when the MASH characters went home. But here's the thing. In the Call of Duty series, we never see Miller, Roebuck, or any of those Marines again. The MASH series has been over for 30 years, and they attempted to show civilian life for 3 characters, and that show didn't go too well. Don't try to go looking for these on fanfiction.net. Never got past my cell phone. And yes, Nick, because I know I'm showing you this. Nick Woods is a friend of mine who often writes with me. No, I have not shown you these stories either. Anyways, yeah, so moving along. So why is it that I like Season 2? But Season 2 is such a spectacular mess. Like, look at Season 2, Episodes 4 and 5. Yeah, I'll admit, those are really stupid. a lot of the criticism has been aimed towards the new writer, Mr. Adam Nyland. But at the same time, that's the thing. He is new. He is learning. This wasn't his show before he got hired, and he's trying to keep up with the vision of Vivian Madrano and Brandon Rogers. How well he's doing at this is not great, but he's at least trying, and our society rewards that nowadays. You may not be doing well, but at least you try. Anyways. Yeah. So, what's wrong with Season 1 that I like this new season more? Nothing really, it's just... Okay, I have to go episode by episode. The pilot of Helluva Boss sucks! Yeah, I'm not sugarcoating this. Everyone who's watched Helluva Boss has talked about that pilot episode. The pilot episode is not good. Let me rephrase. It's good in that it got the show off the ground, and while I have gone on record, I will continue to go on record and say, there's no such thing as a TV show where the first episode is the best episode. That just straight up doesn't exist. But at the same time, they're trying to tell 3 different stories at once. But you're a MASH fan, doesn't MASH have an episode like that? Yeah, but it wasn't the pilot episode. The MASH episode, Season 3, Episode 12, A Full Rich Day. 3 different stories, all of which happen at the same location, 4077. But at the same time, again, that's not the pilot episode. And what do pilot episodes really do? They get the show off the ground, hence the term pilot episode. And for what that is, the Helluva Boss pilot isn't bad, but I don't think it's great. Especially when Helluva Boss first came out, I didn't think much of it. And as more Helluva Boss episodes came out, I thought, okay, what's going on with Hazbin Hotel? Yeah, Helluva Boss pilot drops. Okay, cool. Now I wait for Hazbin Hotel. October 31st, 2020. Helluva Boss Season 1, Episode 1. Okay, cool. Maybe this will give us a hint to Hazbin Hotel. Season 1, Episode 2. Claimed by many to have been the best episode of the series at the time. I agree, it's a pretty good one. Okay. Hazbin Hotel? Well, Helluva Boss Season 1, Episode 3. The Luna episode. Oh, cool. Luna and Octavia are still my favorite characters. I'm glad to see them get attention. Hazbin Hotel? Helluva Boss Season 1, Episode 4. My god. By this point, I'd given up hope. I think a lot of people did. And now to hear that it's finally coming in January of 2024, that's awesome. And I'll do a whole video on that. But that's not what we're here to address. Now, like most of you, I was not a fan of Season 1, Episode 4. Episode 5 I thought was pretty good. Season 6, well, I'm always a sucker for people in black suits. I grew up with that Will Smith movie, Men in Black, so yeah, I can appreciate secret organizations who all wear black suits. Then we get to the Aussies episode. My thought was, finally someone is calling Blitz and Stolas out on their bullshit because this cannot be healthy. Like, society, what the fuck is your deal with unhealthy, unhappy relationships? You do realize that doesn't lead to anything good, right? Hell, DC Comics fan, I may like Joker and Harley Quinn, but I like more when Harley stands up for herself and goes solo. I think most Harley fans do. Hell, honestly, I thought for the longest time she could be one of Batman's allies, and DC is trying to push her towards that. Anyways, yeah. So, what did I really dislike about Season 1? Honestly, the fact that the formula was getting old. The story was nice, the lore, seeing more parts of hell, I liked that. In this show, we have seen pride, greed, lust, wrath, and now even sloth. Of the 7 rings of hell in Vivzy Pop's universe, there are only 2 we haven't seen yet. Envy and... Fuck, I only can remember 6 of the sins at the time. We've seen pride, greed, gluttony, wrath, lust. Oh, sloth. So actually, we've seen 6 of them. Just 1 left. Okay, sorry to have gone on that tangent. Anyway, yeah. It's just that the formula was kind of... Especially because I was confused on what the formula was going to be. I thought this was a show about assassins from hell going up to Earth and killing people. You ever notice how we never see that in the show? Ever? I get it. Exploring the rings of hell is awesome and all, but isn't that the plot of Blitz's story? Isn't that the purpose of his business? To go to Earth and kill people? And what do we barely see through most of the show? Blitz and his employees going to Earth and killing people. Oh yeah, we barely have seen it, and we're 2 seasons in. Oh, well, it's like only part of like a particular episode. Well, then why the hell doesn't he open a different business then? I guess the mission itself doesn't have to be the whole plot, but we should at least see it at some point. Then, okay. For me, the biggest issue of all with Season 1 of Helluva Boss is, before this show, Brandon Rogers was a complete unknown to me, and a good chunk of his comedy begins to wear on me at points. I have seen his comedy in live action. He is fine in live action. He does very well at the comedy thing. I wasn't expecting what he did recently with Blitz versus Grandpa. Hell, most fanfiction writers don't want Blitz to fight Grandpa, they want Blitz to become Grandpa. What do I mean by this? Well, there are plenty of fanfiction writers who write that Luna finds her right match and does the whole marriage and family thing, which, knowing Vivzy Pop, will never happen. I guess that's fine, but honestly, I just think about how humorous it would be to hear the grandfather's voice coming out of Blitz's mouth. And given how much Blitz does actually genuinely love his daughter, who's to say he wouldn't love grandchildren? Moving on. So, yeah. What else is my problem with Season 1? Nothing really. It's just, I find a bit more in Season 2 than most people. The circus episode, where it's revealed that Blitz and Stolas were childhood friends. There's actually a fan-made comic about that, where Stolas talks about Blitz having once been his friend. He just doesn't remember it. And then we find out that's canonical. That he was a childhood friend. We just don't know whether or not he remembers that. Vivzy, you're probably not watching this, but does he remember that? Does he? It'd be pretty interesting if the answer is no. Because, well, maybe he does and he's trying to repress it. I don't know. Sounds like him. Okay. So, as well also, I really got steamed at this Hezu Neutral girl on YouTube. Why? Because she says, oh, well, Hazbin Hotel being female-led is an outright lie because the male characters have more words on their wiki pages than the female ones. The wiki? The thing that can be updated by any person at any time? And that half of which is probably not canon, it's just some fans typing down some bullshit? Is that the wiki you're talking about? By the way, this is someone who has way too much free time if she has the time to count and read every single word on the wiki pages. Anyways. So, as well also, people take issue with the whole Luna being just reduced to a dog in Season 2, Episode 4. What's wrong with dogs? I've never found much of a problem with them. Hell, I've got one and a cat. Anyways, a show that I admit I do not like is Family Guy. Yes, you all are free to burn me alive in the comments. Write down whatever threatening, menacing bullshit you want. It doesn't mean I have to respond to you. I never liked Family Guy. But whenever I feel the need to watch it, which is admittedly rare, my favorite character is Brian, the dog. And I laugh when I see him act like a normal dog. He seems a lot happier acting as a dog than he does acting as a person. An argument could be that Luna is a very different character from Brian, and that's a good argument. But who's to say hellhounds don't seem happier when they're acting more like dogs? Again, it could vary from hellhound to hellhound, but at the same time, And I'll agree, Season 2, Episode 4 and 5, spectacular messes. This is definitely evidence that Adam Nyland should not have a pen in his hand at some times. Yeah. Again, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, dude. I just have no idea how you do pronounce it. But anyways, is Season 2 better than Season 1? No. I just don't believe it's as bad as people make it out to be. Hell, Season 1, Episode 8, the one that guest stars Kesha. People are bitching and moaning because, it destroys the world building. What world building? Last I checked, this is an episodic story about a dude who is trying to run away from his past and the people he drags along with him, including his adopted daughter, as they explore the rings of hell. What world is there to build? Yeah, the world building of Vivzy Pop's Hell has never been a strong point, and honestly, I like it a bit more than what we've had before. Though people who are pissed off at the Beelzebub episode, I can't fault you and I see where you come from, I just do not agree with you. Personally, I think that's one of the best episodes we've seen. You don't like it? Too fucking bad. Anyway, so I've ranted on about Vivzy Pop's secondary show. I'll go on quite a bit of a spiel about Hazbin Hotel whenever I get the chance. But now on to the other show in this topic. RWBY. Now, I'm gonna level with you guys. I didn't find out about this show until 2 years into production. RWBY came out 2013. I was 13 years old. I had a computer. I just didn't know of this until later. Then in 2015, I find it. I like the first 2 seasons. Then it loses me. And I know they're not seasons, they're volumes. Yeah, shut up. I get it. I just don't care. And then, Season 3 gets a little dark for my taste, but I see why people claim this might be the best one. I just do not agree. Then people bitch and moan, oh, well, it's abandoned Montiome. Oh, it's destroying its own world. Gee, where have I heard that before? So, are the new seasons of RWBY really all that bad? Meh. Honestly, the new seasons of RWBY have kind of the same problem we had in the early beginnings. Not enough character development on our 4 supposedly lead protagonists, particularly our main protagonist. Way too much focus on Jean, due to the favoritism of one of the head writers/actors, Mr. Miles Luna. No. Really weird thing for a second. That's also why I put these two together. Miles Luna is one of the head writers of RWBY and also provides the voice of Jean. Brandon Rogers is one of the 2 head writers, the other being Vivziepop, of Helluva Boss, and also the voice of Blitz. The reason no one accuses Brandon of favoritism is because, well, this is, at the end of the day, Blitz's show. I may like other characters a bit more than Blitz. Again, Luna and Octavia are my favorite characters. I personally never cared for Blitz as a character. Mostly because he reminds me way too much of that guy from high school. Trust me, if you've gone to high school, you had a classmate like Blitz. Stop lying. And if you didn't have one, you were that one. And yeah, he reminds me way too much of that one classmate. I didn't care for that one classmate very much. And, yeah. And so, yeah. To move on. However, with Miles Luna constantly being thrown the favoritism card at his face, it's because this is not his show. He did not create RWBY. His character's name is not featured in the title. And yet, who has the most screen time? When I hear people throwing shade at shows that are supposed to be based on women, yet they're showing favoritism towards the male characters, this is what I think of, is RWBY. Because our 4 protagonists, whose names are in the title of the show, are screwed over in favor of, what did YouTube channel Mr. Multiverse call this guy? White Savior Jean? Because, yeah, our 4, I'm guessing, racially diverse main characters. Okay, 3 of them are white and one of them... Okay, 2... Wouldn't Ruby Rose be mixed race? I don't know. Okay, moving on. Our diverse protagonists, all 4 of whom are women, are screwed over in favor of this white male. Because the guy who... And yes, this sounds hypocritical coming from a white male. But at the same time, I do see why people are pissed, and I can kind of agree. Miles Luna is showing clear favoritism to the character he voices. And I believe that he should be either a writer or an actor. He should not be both. Either kick him off the acting staff or kick him out of the writer's room, preferably out of the writer's room. People have talked about redoing RWBY. I've seen several different fan projects where people have talked about just rebooting RWBY as a whole, giving a different take on it, a different version, and Jean is either given a minimal role or is just not there completely. The Dire Gentleman channel, who rebranded to We Are Not Alive, had a RWBY reboot called RWBY Noir, where they talk about the four girls being a private detective agency. And in the trailer, they say that Jean will not be featured in the show at all. And I kind of like that. It's a nice change of pace. The later seasons of RWBY, though, I can't defend. Season 6 was where it all kind of started to go downhill. When we find out that Ozpin is responsible for half the bad shit, including Salem. I had my own ideas for Salem's origins, everybody else did, but again, that's fan fiction. And we have to accept that at the end of the day, that's all that is. Fan fiction. Anyways. But then you have the end. But then, of course, season 7, things looked happy for a while. Then shit hit the fan. Season 8 was mostly okay, but it had its lengths of total garbage. And no, I didn't say garbage. I said garbage. Copyright Angry Video Game Nerd 2006. And then... yeah, so years after it was copyrighted, I said it. Anyways. But yeah, then Volume 9, I don't even acknowledge. It was okay. It's just not really worth the time. And now there's debate about Volume 10, and at a certain point, I just don't care. Hell, the RWBY Justice League crossover was mostly okay. They don't understand Batman's character. Even people who don't like Batman or outright hate Batman hate even more that stupid line that they gave him in that movie. What line is that? Well, I won't tell you to avoid spoilers. It will be in the description of this video with an explanation as to why it is so stupid. Anyways, yeah. So, to finalize this video, why are people throwing shade? Why are people talking about doing reboots? Should there be a reboot? Helluva Boss, no reboots necessary. Just keep going, and love of God, give more attention to Luna and Octavia. I am begging. I would love to see those two get more attention, and don't let Mr. Nyland write the next one. Like, yeah, dude, I'm willing to... I don't know him personally. I don't know any of the writing staff of either of these shows personally. But I don't think Adam Nyland needs to write any episodes with Luna and Octavia. I really don't. If you want to give them an episode about them, I would love that. Just don't let him write it. Let somebody else do it. Hell, Vivzy. You are doing incredibly hard work, and you've earned a lot of people's respect. Why don't you and Brandon sit down and have a talk about what could be a Luna and Octavia episode? And don't let Mr. Nyland near it. For RWBY, I would not be opposed to a reboot. Hell, I've seen fanfiction where Jean gets killed. Yeah, and not just Jean, there's one weird fanfic out there where the characters of RWBY are aware that they are fictional characters. and RWBY just takes her sniper rifle and shoots Miles Luna right in the throat. Yeah, you can tell that the fanfic writer did not like this guy. Indeed. Anyways, so that's all that I've got for this one, is just for RWBY, I would not be opposed to a reboot. Is Helluva Boss Season 2 as bad as people make it out to be? Not really. These are just people upset that their fanfiction has been smashed. And people with way too much free time. Looking at you, Hazel. And for RWBY, yeah, I think a reboot is necessary. Mostly because, again, this is supposed to be a show about 4 young women, not some random-ass dude that they've encountered. That sounds weird coming from a dude. But, honestly, it's not called the Jean Arc show. Best thing I think they can do for this reboot, do not let Miles Luna in the writer's room. He's just going to show the favoritism again. And so, that's it. That's all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. 36 minutes of me rambling. And that's all I've got for tonight. See you next time.